of nature. Your discretion is advised. In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
Oh my God, I don't know what you're talking about. These buddies, every year, like trash-talkingradio.com. The best in the business. They get the money.
Wrestling fans, you are ready to land. Listen to Trash Talking Radio at trashtalkingradio.com. Every Tuesday from 7 to 10 o'clock. You hear guys like myself, so you jam them guys, come on. That's my favorite.
Talking radio show from 7 to whenever we get done. It's brought to you the Screwdriver. Cat, Bruce, Steve, this is Whenever Sean, the other half of the rock and wrestling connection. That's the Johnny one and the Looney one together.
I'm here to tell you about talking trash. The trash never disappears. You get your knife, you got to listen to it. It's the best around, the best in town. I'm David the animal, one half of the world that was taken the road where it was. If you know it's good to you, listen to Trash Talking Radio or else.
Everybody, you're watching Trash Talking Radio. This is Trash Talking Radio. What do you got to say about Trash Talking Radio?
Well, I just say that I just love Trash Talking Radio. You're out of picture, dude. This is my show, and you better watch me because what you gonna do when all terms brand new Trash Talking Radio? What's wrong on you?
This is the Vital Idol, and you're listening to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10 on trashtalkingradio.com. And remember this, when the Vital Idol tells you, it's got to be true. And when it's on the internet, it's got to be real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the top of pop, the king of swing, the international rock star, way above par, the host with the most, Mr. Tuesday Night, the Vital Idol, Classy Mike Trash, and thank you very much.
It is Trash Talking Radio. It is Tuesday night, and I have a special guest today. Life is good. Let's see, how do I do this without closing the door? Let's see if I did it right. Hey, I got her. This is my special friend, Tina, and she's in Washington State, all the way on the other side of the country. So, welcome to the show, Tina.
Thank you.
I have wanted to get you on here for quite a while, and you've been working on your CTE clinic for a long time. Seems like almost since I met you. Shortly after that. So
about a year.
Tell us a little bit about you, and then we're going to talk about your clinic.
All right, so I'll share a little bit of my story as to how I got the clinic going. So I was born and raised in Kennewick, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest, into a family that's very active, mountain climbing, you name it, sports, the whole spiel. Went to Washington State University and met the love of my life. He was a captain of WSU football team, the actual team that won the Aloha Bowl, and is responsible for a big part of the new development at the university. I married him and had 3 beautiful kids, and he went on to play football early on in our marriage, and consequently, if you read the news or follow football, what's come to light is a lot of the players are suffering from what we call CTE, chronic traumatic brain injury, and over the course of time, that ended up taking his life. And so, without going and getting emotional about it, because it does take its toll on myself, and you end up, people that suffer, you can't reverse it. You can slow it down if you catch it, but with him, he was too far gone, so that leads to a whole other journey, and I'm writing about that. But it affected my family so much that because I'm a medical exercise specialist, I decided I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to speak truth and speak out to help these people that are suffering. It's not just the football players, it's the women. Actually, women soccer players are the number one people that are affected, but it can be people like through the professional wrestling world. Anybody that takes a smack to the head, there's a potential of brain injury. So there's concussion protocol. There's a lot that you can do about it. My husband actually worked for one of the world's biggest national labs and had the East Coast. That was his ground, stomping grounds. And so he was a very smart, brilliant man, but then it took its toll and became dangerous. And I actually believe 3 years ago he passed, so 5 years ago, so 2 years before that, and I ended up losing him. We donated his brain and found out that he was classified as 7 of 7 markers for CTE, which is the highest they have. They kept his brain. Actually, they've never seen a brain so damaged. He was a linebacker and one of the best that came out of Washington State University. So this part of the brain, the frontal lobe, which is all your reasoning, impulsivity, imagination, was turning to stone, as well as all the nerves, the vagus nerve, and all the main blood sources. So without getting too into depth with everything, that kind of led me on the road where I decided, you know what, come hell or high water, people will learn the good parts of my husband. We won't talk about trauma and what it does, but we're going to talk about the head injury, and we're going to talk about how we can help people, what we can do for them. And so that kind of put me on a road to where I was doing international public speaking. So I was in a place where I got to speak on stage in front of 10,000 people, and worldwide. I traveled to Mexico. I've been on Zoom several times, and currently I'm working online with men for the chronic traumatic brain injury site, the Warriors for CTE. So it's an organization that kind of, it's still new with what science, what we're able to do, how you can diagnose, because we were told you can't diagnose it without them actually passing away and donating the brain. However, we find now that yes, you can. There's certain tests you can do. But as I've grown in my career, which I was a trainer to begin with, I just kept educating myself, got into yoga therapy, breath work, NLP, like is training your brain to be positive. There's a lot you can do for people. And my main emphasis is loving a person right now, right here, right today, not judging them, because when you have brain injury, you're going to mess up. So they often worry about what I did yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow. But truly in the world we live in, we only have this moment in time. And so if you can surround them with love, then you can start getting them used to coming out and sharing that, yes, there is stuff going on. There's mood disorders, there's depression, there's a whole lot of things that go hand in hand. So I needed to get back into doing for me, because I lost my house, I lost my family, I lost everything because of his brain injury. I had to leave. So I had to start over. And in my heart, I couldn't go back to a facility and just be a trainer. I've done it for 30 years. So I decided I'm going to go along the medical route to what I knew to be true that could help people. So with these hands, they're feminine, but I tell you what, I built from the ground up. I made friends with a gal who just believed in what I did, and ironically, she was working on equipment to help players be better, faster, stronger in the NFL. And so our worlds kind of collided, and she loved what I was doing, and she backed me up, and she became more like family and believed so much in what I did that she became an international speaker. So between the two of us, we took her warehouse, gutted it, and she was just selling products and doing hair analysis. And I said, well, why don't you set some of these saunas up? Why don't we do stuff? And so over the course of time, we've got things that will help, like oxygen chambers, so you can put somebody in an oxygen chamber. There's near-infrared saunas, there's brain machines, there's sound therapy, yoga breath works, along the line. So I work with people now that are medical necessity, like ataxia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. People have always been drawn to me, and I've always had that heart to help. But I never knew that this would kind of be my destiny. So it's taking lemons. I love my husband to death, and I can get in a position where I can work myself up. But if you live in a heart of gratitude, I had a man for 30 years that was my soulmate. The last 7 years sucked. The last 3 years were very dangerous. But I'm in a position now to where I could either lay down, cry about it, get depressed, or no, help other people from my trauma. How can I help people to improve their life? How can I help families that survived? And so in the course of it, because I speak up, some of my family doesn't understand. They're still healing. They're approaching it in their own little tunnel. So I've had to let loose of a lot of people I thought that would be here for a lifetime, which leads me to meeting Mike. So we had a special connection kind of happened. I kind of joked with him about we have photo shoots and our stuff kind of merged together, and in a photo shoot you can get lynch, you can pick up whatever. But I loved Mike. When he showed up, I was like, who is this rock and roll star? We kind of just hit it off, and then when he opened up that he had friends that suffered too, and he's got such a big heart. He saw my trauma. They've helped me through. So I've made a handful of very good friends in this journey that I never ever would have had I not had to walk the path that I did. And having that support to, no matter what happens, to keep going, keep pushing, keep looking for opportunities. I do follow also from heaven. I get pennies from heaven, which I know come from my husband. And I talk to him all the time as if he's here, because I close my eyes and I can feel his presence, and I know this is what he'd want me to do. So to this day, I have people reach out to me. I reach back out to people, and I actually call down the list of people that I know he played with, and they're suffering. So I'm teaching them there's things that you can do, starting with diet, but mostly it's training your mind to be present, to stop what you're thinking, to observe your body, to practice just being still, to practice being in the moment. And then from there, we move into other things that they can do. So, like I said, I became a yoga therapist, just finished and wrapped that up in the middle of the night on Thanksgiving morning. So I'll never quit learning things that can help people. I think that that's kind of what my destiny is I'm going to use my heart, I'm going to use my mind to help people, because I still got that. But it's hard. It's a hard road to travel when you're trying to help people, and you have to learn to put your trauma in the back seat. So I'm still working through that. It's imperfect. I'm not good on technology for reasons. Michael has rescued me a million times. And I've got a handful of friends. Marcia, she's my go-to to get my pictures done up right. I'm now doing acting and modeling and international speaking, and I've done background work, but for the most part I've been putting on a construction hat. I've done plumbing, I've done electrical, I've framed, put stuff together just to make it happen. So I had the opportunity to meet Lee Steinberg, who is the real Jerry Maguire, at a conference I was invited to in Chicago. And upon meeting him, it's really hard when you see these men. Your sports agents are trying to pull for you to get the most money they can. And it is an entertainment industry, so really the longevity of a player is typically 3 to 6 years. And in that course of time, they're hitting a lot of walls. And Dan, being a linebacker, that's why he suffered so badly. But he wanted to meet with me and talk with me because he was on the stage speaking of how he was going to start helping people, how he wanted to work with people with their mind and cognizance. And so I got to sit down with him, and there were some tears that were shed from both sides. He said, he's never sat with a wife, apologetic, yes, but that's the industry. That's what my husband wouldn't have changed. That was his life. That was his family. But he had told me, I'm going to build a clinic and I'm going to start doing this. And I said, I'm going to build a clinic. And to this day, my clinic now is within a couple months of opening. We're heading, in our mind, we would have liked to have it done a long time ago. But we're looking at really opening the facility in a full-blown capacity right after this year's Super Bowl in 2025 of February. That's our goal we're setting. So in the course of this time, I've got to go to, on my own accord, when God opens doors, I say, okay, I'm going to walk through that boldly, to take stage and talk to people, and speak against this is not something I do. I'm an advocate for being a part of a team, but I'm also an advocate for, if there's a responsibility to help families out. There's a responsibility to help the players out. And so I speak from a place of love, to where there's a responsibility. So let's work together. What can we do to help people? And so the last two Super Bowls, I've actually been invited to participate in Lee Steinberg's brain clinic that he has for people, that brings new technology, doctors together, players together. So I have the backing, and in a notebook I've just kept numbers of people that said that they would come and help me, which now includes old coaches from Dan. It includes players that are now fully suffering from CTE. So when my clinic opens, and Mike included had said, hey, I'll come down and I'll help however I can. So I just walk through the doors that open. I believe you can plan your life out a little bit, but you have to be realistic to know that here I am right here now. I only have today to make it happen. So every day I get up in the morning, I go down to work with my clients, and then I go down to work off the pay. I don't have payroll. So I'm skimping by trying to make things work, but by the grace of God, I'm able to go and travel. We just got done working on our pilot and some fun things Mike will be talking about. These doors never would have opened. So if I can say that I'm grateful for one thing and I wouldn't change it, yes, I've been through hell. Yes, I walked through the worst days of my life, but I also found the best friends, a new support system that I never, ever would have had. And it came by the way of a traumatic event that really changed the course of my life. But I'm hoping that with my technology and my education and things that I've experienced, that I can at least put a better light on that there is some hope. How we deal with people shouldn't be judgmental with anybody with mental illnesses. You don't know what people are walking through. So just walk through life with a little grace and compassion, and keep your heart open and keep your eyes open to how you really can help people, because we all have the capacity to do that. So in a nutshell, basically I just took a trauma and I kept doing my profession and my faith, just believing that I didn't go through this for no reason. No, I'm not going to sit at a desk. My family said, go out to Hanford, get a job. If they really knew me, I can't work electronics. I can't do computers. What I do best is sit with people, and I share my heart, and I listen to them, and then I show them ways to stretch. I show them modes that they can do with what we have medically that will help them to better their attitude. And I sit with families to be realistic and tell them that it is potentially a matter of years before your loved one won't be there, and how you can prepare for it, because I was blindsided. Nobody told me. Like I said, my husband went to work after playing football and worked for a lab, and in the course of that, he was brilliant. But but there was things happening that I just couldn't put my hand on, nor wrap my head around. And now, looking back, I can. And so it's kind of hard because I'm working hand in hand with a man who's kind of, his longevity, he's kind of placing on the charts of where my husband was. So I just fill his life with joy at the time working through this, and he's willing to put his story out there to help all these other people. So that's really how life works, is that we're not meant to take our traumas and sit on them and hide and cry and stuff. I mean, everybody's life can be a lifetime story. Really, I'm not any different than anybody else. I'm just willing really to talk about what I've been through. Has it cost me? Yes, it's cost me my own children's relationship. They don't understand what I do. They want me to keep my mouth shut. But out of love for the world and what we can do for people, and I know in my heart, and I've been told that I'm 100% supported by my husband, by people that I never would have met, you know, psychics and stuff, that I'm like, okay, but they come up to me and they'll tell me my story. So I'm like, okay, if I know you're there, just keep shooting me the pennies. And so on the way out of New York, I was going to tell you, Micah, I was kind of bummed because I'm like, I didn't get my pennies yet. And so we go through talking to a lady who just got engaged, and she was moving to San Francisco, and I just said, oh, my husband played football there. Oh, everybody gets excited. I said, yeah, but he's no longer with me. And so I was talking about him, and we went through our security, and my friends know about these magic pennies, and they're no big deal anymore to them. Marcia says, hey, look by your foot, Tina. There's your penny. So I was really sad that I wasn't going to get my penny. So I grabbed my penny, put my backpack on, took 2 steps, looked down, and there's another one. So that's just my reassurance. Like I said, as long as they keep coming, this will be something I do till the day I die. We'll be helping other people. So I just walk forward with faith, and I just thank God for the people now that I have in my life that are helping me through not only losing my husband, but losing a lifetime of things which don't matter to me anymore. But the beauty is I've got a whole new support system, and so that's why I'm here today, is kind of just to tell you a little bit about it, and you'll be hearing more in the future of how many people we're helping, who's going to actually step forward and help me. I know that I'll have some big names. I know that I'm going to be somebody who's going to change the face of CTE. I just know that because I haven't lost this much to not be blessed for what I'm doing right now. So that's the attitude I'm taking, and I'm being realistic, and I'm saying and claiming it, that good things, great things will happen by opening this clinic. I can help people that are healthy and that are just struggling with all kinds of ailments. But my heart behind the clinic really goes to people that are suffering from neurological issues, total brain injuries, and chronic traumatic brain injuries. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'll let Mike kind of talk to you a little bit more about who I am and kind of what the fun things we've got to do together since our paths have crossed. But it's just been a blessing to have Mike in my life. I call him my big brother. He's a troublemaker. Don't let him tell you anything else, but the good kind of trouble. So we're just walking through life. And like I say, we all have our traumas, but just take your traumas, flip it, and take a look at it again, how you can help people. That's the way that I get through it every day.
That's good. That you covered it, a lot. And I want to tell you that, you know this, and probably a lot of people that know me know this, but, I take a look at the way I was 3 years ago. 3 years ago today, I was lost because I had, if you look at, say, 10 years ago, well, a little over 10 years ago, my whole life was different. And, I was married, I had my band, my wife was sick, but I was trying to do what I could. And when she died, it left me in a really weird headspace. I had had a stroke in 2012, And I thought my life was over then. I thought that was it, because I couldn't talk without just stopping all of a sudden, and couldn't finish my sentences, and it was really weird. A lot of things have changed. And then Pam died, and then I finally got through that, and I was starting to live again. And then Ken, who was my music partner for 38 and a half years, died of COVID, and that just knocked me out. Everyone that I was in contact with prior to Ken dying, they're not here now. And the people have been swapped out for other people, but my life is all different too. Everything that I knew, I don't know now, and it's I totally get the thing. The person that you relied on wasn't there anymore. You know, the person that believed in you wasn't there anymore. And all that stuff really comes into play when you're trying to live your life the best you can, and then all of a sudden the people that supported you were no longer there. I totally get it. And by the way, there were some comments in the chat room I want to share with you. Darrell is in the chat room, says, hello, Mike. Hi, Tina. My sister, my sister said put a nice heart there for you. Darrell also said, love you, Tina. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Tony says, hey, yo. And Darrell also said, get it, girl. And said, just got out of shoulder surgery today. I didn't know that you...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so all these things. But, you know, when I had met you a month or so, probably a month-ish after Ken died, and I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do anymore, because I mean, I retired early so that I could spend the rest of my life doing music, and never did I imagine being in acting. That was not even in my game plan, other than the fact that I wrote a script in 2006, but I didn't know how to get it past that point. The trailer got 19 awards in the film festivals, and I thought, oh, this is my way out. This is my way to... But it never really went any further, and I couldn't figure out what the next step was. And one of our music videos won 24 awards, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, this is my next step, and I didn't know what to do, so I screwed it up, and I didn't do anything with it. But then, because of you, and because of Marcia, and because of Maggie, and a trip to Florida, I decided we were going to write a script. And we wrote the script called Flocked. And I spent a lot of the time talking to you about it, because we were talking about different things we could do with it. And then I actually...
Well, back up, though, because you have to remember that you didn't want to be in a place with people. We went to Atlanta,
yes.
And we were in a position where when you travel and you do these things, it is expensive sometimes, and so the best thing to do is to get Airbnb. So I basically had talked you into going, and you were the only guy.
Well, yeah, okay, so I'll back that up. I'll back it up just a little bit. How that happened was that Marcia was having issues with money, and I thought, well, I'll offer to get a place with her and we can split it. And she goes, what, you're not going to sleep with me? I said, I never said anything about sleeping with you. I just said I'd get a place with you and we could, you know, knock your expenses down. And she goes, oh, okay. And she goes, but it's got to be 2 different bedrooms. I said, again, it's not a big deal. I was just trying to help you. I don't, you know, I'm okay. I can afford to do this. And so the next event was, first that was in Vegas. The next event was Atlanta. And she, and I never heard anything from her, I thought, okay, well, maybe she's not interested. Maybe that's fine. I'll just get my own place. And right before I booked my own place, I get a call from her. We were real close to the date that we were going to go. She goes, you're going to love me. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I did you a great favor. I said, what kind of favor did you do? I mean, I was just going to rent myself a place because I didn't hear from you. She goes, I got a place. Oh, I said, that's cool. Is it nice? She said, yeah, you'll love it. And I heard this love it thing in a strange way.
Gated community.
Like, what's going on here? And she goes, yeah, I did you a favor. It's going to be you and 8 women. And I couldn't register that. That didn't make any sense to me. Because, it's not like I'm a player or anything. It's not like I, would have ever dreamt that in my wildest dreams. I said, no, I can't do that. I got to have a place of my own. I got to have my own bathroom and stuff, and I got to have my own bedroom and stuff. And this was blowing my head away because I just didn't ever see myself with that many people at all. In fact, I didn't even see myself like with 2 people, and now I've got to deal with 8 people, and I'm thinking, no, I can't do this. I thought, I'm going to back out. And she said she wouldn't let me. She wouldn't let me. So I didn't back out, and I got the place, and I got my own room. I got my own bathroom. I got my own floor, basically, because I had the first floor, and all these women running around.
All the women upstairs.
Everywhere from 20 to on up. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do with this? I don't deal this well with people. That's a lot of people. That's more people than I want to be around. And it turned out to be okay. And although it was not the greatest neighborhood, but we were in a fenced-in neighborhood, so that was good.
Gated community.
Yes, a very gated
community.
So that turned out to be good. And then the next one was Hollywood. Next one, and then she goes, "We got 10 this time." I said, "What do you mean 10? I mean 9 was bad enough." And we got 2 guys. I said, "Well, no, wait a minute. Now you're sharing my flock." But anyway, she came up with the flock thing, I guess. She came up with the hen house.
We called you Rue.
Yes.
Because you were the only male in the hen house, and so we nicknamed you Rue. And so it just started to become a joke. But then it was, if I remember right, I mean, Maggie stayed down and she talked to you way, way late in the night. And she was going through her own trials and stuff. And so I think that that's how we just knit together, is that everybody goes through struggles, but you're never meant to go through them alone. But the way that everybody connected was we're just authentically ourselves, sharing our pain, loving on each other exactly who you are in the moment. Everybody's trying to make a way in the entertainment industry. Some of us didn't stay as long to do it, but in that time we made just some connections that are going to last a lifetime. And although some of the people aren't with us right now, I know that if we hook back up and we decide, hey, let's have a house, that everybody would come. But as life goes on, the younger kids are doing their own thing, and then us older people are hanging on. And we just said, okay, if you're doing that, Mike, if you're going to shoot this pilot, heck yeah, we'll go. So 3 of the people that still aren't with this company, actually, they all came up, and out of love and commitment, we're just sticking it out. And we had, to me, I had the best time that I've had in a long time. I needed to get away because I've still got parents and siblings and family members that are ill, and because I'm in the medical field, I spend a lot of time taking care of them. But you know what, I made that commitment. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go there. And I actually enjoyed the time with you guys. I got to spend time and do the photo shoots and meet. But to me, that was the most healing part of my journey, was to get together, to experience a little Jersey life with our friend and her Friendsgiving. But really, it was the filming that was a lot of fun. And
it was a lot.
When you get going, getting giddy because you're just going, and so many takes, it would just be one word and you'd just be stuck, and it'd be like, oh.
What was that word for that? I just don't understand. I can't remember that one word.
I'm looking forward to the outtakes a lot.
Because, there's some outtakes.
There's some good outtakes, and sometimes that's the best part of the movie. So I have a confidence that there's going to be some great things that are going to come of this. But the best thing of all that came of it was now I've got what I call three sisters, 3 sisters and a big brother, and it's a family that, by blood you don't get to choose who your family is, and give and take. I'll stay mum on that. But these are people that just kind of chose me and accepted me. So it was a great time. But it's just because you're just walking by faith and saying, okay. But I think you were kind of forced into accepting us because you wanted your own space, your own room. But we've met great people. There's still, we talk about our last trip that we went to in Atlanta. We had Masharad, our son, what we call our son. We got to fake fight, which the whole company thought we were arguing.
The fake fight was kind of fun because it
but
came.
I'm tired of your crap. Don't do that anymore. I'm done. I'm done.
If that's the way you feel,
that's
fine.
the way I feel.
That's fine.
Yeah. But just because I'm a woman, you don't think I could do this?
I know you can't do it. If someone came up behind you with a knife and that's it.
But you don't think I could take care of myself just because I'm a woman? You don't think I could take care of myself?
That's exactly.
So anyhow, yeah.
It was just funny because we were running through that. Nobody knew nobody knew what we were doing, but you became the bad person. You would leave the room, then they'd come up to me and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I mean, she's been acting weird all day. I don't know.
Well, because normally I'm never like that. But from previously, we had like a year ago, in December, we had worked with some acting coaches, and they gave us a script to do.
It was in New York. It was
for
in
Stella
New York.
Adler, yeah.
Yes.
And so we took that script and then we just played on it. But the only people that would recall that was the people that were still in the company, which wasn't very many people there. And so I just played on that. And normally I'm just easygoing, and you see me smiling. And if anything, I might be sad, but I pull out of it. But never do I get ferocious in anybody's face, and I was just all over Mike, and so our management team was like, "What is up with Christine?
Yeah, what's her problem?
Is she okay? Yeah, what's her problem?
What's her problem?"
And we didn't tell them till the end of the night, so that was.
I didn't tell them at all. I think if they figured it out, but I don't know. It was funny.
Well, you didn't say anything? You didn't tell them?
No.
Because she said, "Christine, I've never seen this side of you." Yeah. And you probably never will, but yeah.
But
that's what you call improv.
I'd like, I'm going to show you a small piece of the clip that we worked on this weekend, and this is just a small piece of it because it's going to be about a 30-minute pilot, so you're going to see about 2 minutes of, believe it or not, that was only about 2 minutes that I showed you, and this is just the beginning, so it's going to ramp up from here. It's just a guy who's had a lot of things go wrong in his life, and he's ready to give up on life, and he has a place for rent, but he's having second thoughts about renting that place. And well, here's the I'll just let people see what I'm talking about rather than talking about what I'm talking about. I think it'd be better just to see it because I'm sure.
Yeah, this is going to be fun because I haven't got to see it yet, so I'm excited to see this.
I can tell you, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull it off because there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of
editing.
Yes, a lot of editing stuff going on, and I don't have we didn't have a lot of lighting equipment. I had some lights that I brought, and I had 2 cameras I just bought last Prime Day, not this Prime Day, and I bought it for the pilot, and I got to finally use it for the first time, and
weather.
Oh, the weather was horrible.
Some scenes can't be shot, so.
Yeah, the one scene is outside, where the one girl is outside, and I'm just going to tell you, it was raining, and she stood out in that rain for a while just to do that scene. So I put my thumbs up to her because I don't know if I would have done that, as sad as it is. But I'm going to.
She had a coat and umbrella on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
But I'm going to show it for the first time. And so you people will be the first to see this. This is just from The chopping
First
block.
edit.
Yeah, the first edit, and I've got a long way to go. I mean, like I said, this was only 2 minutes of the video, and I got to tell you that I'm excited more that now that I started the thing that there's going to be a lot of stuff. The funny parts are coming. Let me tell you, the chaos that happens about probably 20 minutes into it. It makes the whole thing worthwhile because, you know, and the thing is, this isn't going to be one episode. I mean, this is going to be one episode, but we've got parts written for a couple episodes. The second episode, I think, is funnier than the first episode, but the first episode establishes the people that are in the cast, and it's a small thing because it's one location. That's really difficult to write in one location. Friends did it. Three's Company kind of did it, and we're going to try to do it. And I think that's how I like to portray it. It's like a cross between Friends and Three's Company. But it's actually not. I mean, it's a lot different, but the concept. So I'm going to play this. What's that?
It's fun because we're actually, when we were talking amongst each other, I know that you've talked to Maggie and come up with some stuff, and talked to Marcia and come up with some stuff. And really what we're doing is we're pulling from our experiences when we're on the road, when we're doing these things, and we're putting those into the plays or into the movies and stuff themselves. So right now it's just really rough, and when you edit, I mean, I got to see how many angles, how many things I never knew. I mean, I've only done, you know, your childhood plays where you're on stage, and I've got to do background work, but man, there was a whole lot of work that went into this. So just to watch the editing, I know that you've got your hands full to be able to put things together is going to be an art itself. And then when you add the things that we're supposed to film and give to you to plug in later, it takes a whole lot of creativity, but a whole lot more time. So this is just a crude look at just a small little piece of time that we had this weekend. So I'm really excited because I know it was 9 or 10 hours that we were finishing up at 4:45 a.m. in the morning.
It was crazy. And I'm just glad that I had to work with you guys with it, because basically the characters are based on the real life people to an X degree, but I mean some things are. We're not going to see.
I'm sure my lack of technology is going to come into play there. I absolutely know it will.
Yeah, you're the wealthy girl that isn't wealthy anymore.
And then I lost it all, which I can.
Marcia's not going to show up in this one either. It's just me and Maggie in the very beginning of the show, and we actually rewrote the very beginning of the show on the spot, on the second. I said, wait, I got an idea. And we decided to do that. And it actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
Well, and the funny thing is Cynthia's house, so this little Jersey house, is we were with little Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah.
She had whistles and bells on anything, so there was not any portion of the home that didn't have any Christmas. So we're like, okay, what are we going to do with the background? Oh, well, a depressed person wouldn't take their stuff down. So we just kind of rewrote that. And, it was written to where this was going to be plugged in, and I think it turned out even better to have that to play off
the intro. So. The intro was totally done on the spot, and we did not write that out. And it's like we were just getting ready to start, and I said, wait, what if we did this?
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Yeah. So what you're going to see is pretty much not the way we originally wrote it. In fact, it's not at all like we originally wrote it, but I think it's better than what we originally wrote. So sometimes those inspirations make a big difference. So I'm going to turn you towards the screen so you can watch what's going on. And I'm going to play it. This is one little 2-minute blurb of Flocked. And I hope you enjoy it. And, oh, wait, I got to make sure I turn this back on. Hold on, I got to turn the sound on. Because that wouldn't work good if it didn't have sound. Okay, here we go. I hope. Oh, I got to turn that up. All right, here we go. It's Flocked. Scene 1, take 200. Oh, shoot, I don't hear any sound.
Uh-oh.
That's
Technical.
a problem. Hold on.
Is that from the day before when we didn't have sound?
No,
when we
it's
had
my computer being mean to me, not wanting
But you
to.
didn't say that we spent we had a good couple scenes going, and then all of a sudden we realized it was being filmed, but there was no sound.
Yeah.
Technical.
Hold on, I got to figure out which one is the right one. Hold on. Let me go back to the this, and I got to see if it. Okay, why is this not playing? Oh, because there's no sound here. Hold on. Let me go back to here.
An explicit nature.
What a crap. Okay, I got to think this through here. So why isn't the sound working for this? It should have. Okay, it's not going to work. Why is that? Hold on. I'm going to download it, and then I can just play it from the download.
Try it again.
I'm going to hold on. We're going to get this thing to work, because this is I really think that this was one of my, well, probably the highlight of the weekend. Let me see if this is going to work this time. Okay. I didn't put it on YouTube, and that would have been the easiest way to make it work. But, as always, okay, hurry up.
Not as always. Once in a while you have technical stuff, and that's like anybody, so.
See, I blame you. Because
I did it. I'm rubbing off. It's probably me.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get this to work, hopefully. All right. Let's see if it works. Let's go. Oh, I can't understand it. It's not working. Hold on.
Well, we'll just keep talking.
Oh, what the crap.
So I think part of the greatness, too, was the night before this is Cynthia had a Friendsgiving party, and so we kind of crashed that after our, we had a workshop for a day and got to meet with Thomas G. Waits, which he's a classical Romeo and Juliet Shakespearean coach, and so got to learn a whole new take on how that's presented and dialect and how to get your voice out there. And so we got to meet a couple characters who were probably going to write in based on our training that day. We went and did some funny little drills, trying to get you to hold your voice longer, and
yeah,
that was kind of a funny thing we could plug in. But we ended up going and crashing at her party, and she's so sweet. We had kids running everywhere, sugar high on cookies and candies, and then, you know, as they started to consume a little more, the Jersey Shore people had their drinks and stuff. We didn't drink. Well, okay, I had a beer, but they didn't drink anything. But these guys then were in the kitchen, and it was just kind of funny to hear the dialect, what's a pie? I'm looking around for a pie, and they laughed. It's pizza pie. But we got to interact with them a little bit, and went back into the back rooms to try to get some sleep, because sleep was just at a minimum this whole trip. And so you're looking at people in the picture, in this film, you're going to see, I don't know how much sleep. Mike got a little more sleep on one of the days, but other than that, it was maybe 2 to 3 hours a night that we got to get rest. And that's just part of what people put in when you're trying to get things done in the industry. You have technical issues, you might have just people that are tired or not showing up, or equipment fails you, or you have to rewrite scripts. We went to breakfast and even worked on the scripts at breakfast time, took pictures. So there's a whole lot, it gives you a whole lot of appreciation for what goes behind everything that you see on TV. At least for me now, it does, because we did a lot of moving things around, a lot of setting and staging and making sure that, well, in that scene, that box was here, you were standing here. So you have to kind of match it up so that when Mike goes back and does all these edits, that he can make it flow smoother, and then you're getting perspective. So you might do your lines from over the top of your shoulder,
Right.
you know, so that you're looking at the people or straight directly at them. So I'm just really curious to see what Mike's going to put together with what Michael's going to do with all this stuff that he puts together.
Yeah.
I can't call him Mike anymore. I have to call him Michael.
That's right. According to that,
Because
you're
I'm an
uppity
snooty,
class.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And she doesn't talk like that. She does not talk like that. So
I decided I'm going to upload.
Minds.
I'm uploading this to YouTube in case I don't get this to work right, because I know it'll play from YouTube because we just played the trailer. So whatever reason it's not doing it through the OneDrive. It should have done it through the OneDrive because it's still uses the same technology to do it, and I don't know why it doesn't work. It should have worked. Let me check this one.
And you're going to see a part. I laugh at Mike because you're going to see a part where he actually has to keep coming back to a certain position from a lying position over and over and over again because the camera would shake or the dog would bark or something would happen. So we were teasing him about having to do 100 sit-ups in a nighttime. So
you act like that's a problem. I'm in pretty good shape for who I am.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like, I'm golden, you know. Underneath all this is the rock hard human being, you know. No problem doing 100 crunches.
Let's see if I fix it. Okay, it didn't work. So that means when it comes up on YouTube, I can do it on there. It is uploaded now. It's got to go through and
3, 2, 1.
We've got to go through and do the thing here. I don't see it though. Why don't I see it? It should be on there. Processing. 20 seconds left. Here we go. Little by little. Flocked. Should be done. All right. Now we're going to see. Hopefully it'll work. I sure hope it does. Oh, it says 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I lied. I said 2 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we had snowballs. I mean, she had a whole bucket of snowballs, so that came into my scene. So there was times when the girls are fighting in the background, and I said, I'm just anxious to see the outtakes.
Okay.
Because I got pegged right in the forehead on a couple of them.
Okay, well, now that's really weird because it's not working. Let me look in the mixer. Well, yeah, because the trailer worked. I want to look at this again. Hey, stop it. It's working
whatever
there.
you sent me today worked too, so.
It's working there. I don't know why it's not working here. Well, this is sucky. It's not.
No, it'll work. Just take a deep breath.
It's not working.
The show must go on.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to give... You know what? This is my Christmas gift to you people. I am going to give you the link to this 3-minute video so you can watch it because for some reason it doesn't want to play. It played when you... Yeah, I thought it played when... I don't understand. It should be playing. But it wouldn't play on either of those things. But yet my trailer plays. Why does my trailer play but this doesn't play?
And the one that you sent me just a little bit ago did work, so...
Yeah. It's not wanting to work. Let me look at... Oh, okay. Hold on. Ah, it's one of these. Okay.
A sign that I'm not alone in this
Still
world.
not playing.
That there is someone out there for me.
Are you guys hearing anything? Just what
Not yet.
Hello? Hi.
Stupid.
I just sent it back to Mike. I don't know why, but it's... I don't know if that helps you. I just sent back what you sent me because it did have the voice and stuff to it, so...
Yeah, but the thing is, it's something... Because like in Facebook, you guys are going to drive me crazy, dogs. You always find the right time to be a pain in my butt. Okay, let's try it here again. Nope. Okay, come on. Oh, that's my That's my show. Hold on. That's not it.
There I am.
Yep, there you are. Okay. Which tab is that? Oh, it's that tab. Okay. All right, that's not what we want. So let's stop this. Oh, let's stop that.
This goes to show that sometimes technical difficulties, that lamp is
I
going
got
to
sound
follow.
from that. So maybe we'll get to do this. Hold on here. I got an idea. I got these weird ideas all the time. Why didn't it? It should have gone to that though. It didn't go to that. Oh, nope, it didn't. It did it again. Why is it not doing this? It's trying to annoy me. See, I hear myself there. Now, why isn't it playing?
Some lights with 4 lights would have to remember so many scenes.
Oh man, I made a mistake. I wrote myself into every scene. that was a problem. Okay, let's see. I could turn this on. Let's see if this will work. Turn that one on. Turn that one on. I don't know what's going to happen out of this, so. It should have played, though. It should have played. Why is it not playing? Let's see if we can.
Not guidance, not anything.
Nah, it's not playing. What the crap?
You know what? If you don't get it done this week, what's going to be the beauty of it is you can share even more next week
This is
that
true.
you have
I'm going to give people
gone through. So
the link that they can actually watch it themselves, because I really want to share it with you guys. This is my Christmas gift to you, to see what it is that we've been working on. And since I can't get the sound to come up for some stupid reason, I'm going to have to do it a different way. Okay, hold on here. I want to check again on why it didn't do it here. It should have done it here. Because this is...
I've never asked you for anything. Not guidance, not anything.
They might be hearing it. Are you hearing it, people? Hold on.
Need a sign that I'm not
I don't know
alone
if
in
they're
this world.
hearing it, because they might possibly.
There is someone out there.
Ask Darrell, she'd tell you.
See, one of the channels is working. Okay, so I'm going to let me turn everything off, but this soundtrack, and let's see if we get any sound from it.
Well, cut my sound too. Cut me out.
Yours as well. Let's see if that'll work, because I really, I'm going to cut this. Okay, let's see. This is the...
You know, I've never asked you for anything. Not guidance, not anything. Now, I just need a sign. I need a sign that I'm not alone in this world. That there is someone out there for me.
Hello? Hi,
Hi?
I'm Maggie.
Are you my angel?
I'm your new tenant. I saw your ad online. You said the place was available, and you agreed to rent it to me?
Wait. You're my new tenant?
What do you mean? Don't be shy. Come on, let me in. I'm so excited to live here. I can't wait to see the place.
What?
I can only see it, but I can't hear it.
What?
Don't you remember?
Did anybody give you a thumbs up if they're able to hear it? Darrell said she can hear it. Well, Darrell just sent me a message and she said that she could hear it, and she said yes. I hear the film.
What now? Excuse me.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you heard it all or not, because I can't hear what you're hearing, so I can only assume that it's, but I can't understand why that isn't working the way it's supposed to work, because the YouTube works, yet that YouTube doesn't. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, apparently, according to Darrell, she sent me a picture of her too. She's just got her shoulder done. Looking cute, Darrell. She said that she was able to hear it, so it's just you and me that aren't able to hear it for the feedback to you and me for some reason. So she says that she was able to hear the film. So she said, yeah, she can hear it.
All right, good.
So.
If you would like to,
but I still couldn't hear it. I'm going to have to look at. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to look at the film that you sent me. So
it's weird. I don't understand. Because we were I mean, it turned on and hold on. Check 1, 2. You can hear me. I think they can hear me now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now. Well, that sucks. That kind of killed my momentum, but
No, I think you know what, Mike, you can do it next week, and then you'll have even more to show. You know, you'll have it.
Christmas Eve.
Okay, that'll give you 3 weeks. You'll take a couple weeks off, and then you'll have it polished and ready to go. We can try it again.
Yeah.
But I think they got the gist of it. It is a little bit of a comedy.
I'm going to show it in segments. So I'll show the next segment next time, and the following segment the next time, and the whole thing eventually.
So are you going to have Maggie on the next time to be able to, as your little surprise, and then Marcia, and then Cynthia? Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
I thought of a way I could have heard it. Oh well, too late now. Oh well. Yeah. It said you echoed. I think it's because my mixer seemed to show more than one mixing for that, and it should have only been one. So I don't know which one we came through on. Anyway, back to the show. Hey, it's a live show. You never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
That's the thing about it. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Now you have sound.
Stop. I wanted to play the end song. This isn't the end. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, you got a good story and, a lot of emotions attached to your projects and stuff, and I can tell you I'm proud of you. You have come a long way since I met you, and and it's I've never met a more giving person than you, and I think that's really noble, and you haven't given up on everything that goes on, because like to imagine what you've gone through. I can't imagine. I mean, when Rebel died, he was a friend of mine. He's a guy that helped me a lot in the business, and I just didn't want to believe that happened. I didn't want to believe that he went into that building and shot his wife and killed himself, and their kids were in the house. Their kids are going to have to live without their parents because their father had CTE, and
the irony was, for me, is we were watching the movie, that Will Smith was in called Concussion, and I hadn't even thought about any of this at all. But at that time, there were some things that my husband was doing that just did not make sense to me. And so when we were watching the movie, all of a sudden it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had him shut the TV off. I just said, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm going through. I didn't say that to him, but I called his friend. And so his best friend, started doing some investigating. And then my husband, even in court, when we were having to do things in court, still wasn't admitting that he had issues. He didn't do that until the very end, and that's sad to me because there are things that we could have done. But flashback is the concussion movie was written basically about the Steelers, who my husband was drafted by the Steelers. He was in the 6th round, the 7th player to be drafted by them, and the movie was loosely written about 7 of the players that actually were going through the CTE, and the first person that they ever really truly said and recognized CTE as being real was I can't even think of his name right now. He was the center for University of Washington, and everybody they can play a part, but when you get them home, they play good in public, but when you get them home, all hell breaks loose. And so his wife was getting blamed for a lot of the chaos, and people were talking about, oh, she's crazy and she causes all this incident. And really what you're doing is you're trying to protect them and the chaos they're going through. And so when he was moved to Cincinnati, all of a sudden things became really chaotic in his life, and they finally saw that this is a condition that's going on, and he ended up losing his life. But in the movie, they showed these men that were making millions of dollars, playing, hundreds of thousands of dollars playing, and in the end of the movie, they were living in a little Datsun beat-up truck, drinking and drugging to get through life, without family, without any of them. And so that kind of is, without saying too many words, is kind of the path that I went down. Is they don't admit it, but then at the very end, they're trying anything to cling to a way to sustain a life. And then it got really crazy, but you can't go backwards. You have to go forward. You can't go and tell that story, because it's just like every CTE story is like throwing spaghetti on a wall. Whose mess is the messiest? The bottom line is it's a mess no matter how you look at it, because they're not the same people, and gradually you lose who they are. And so his friend in the end was the one that came to the house, saw the situation, saw my husband's condition, ended up leaving in the middle of the night saying, I'll look into doctors and people that can help. And just 2 weeks before, I threw my hands up in the air and said, God, I can't do this anymore. My neighbor was having mental issues. I had another family member that was going through some stuff. And now here's my husband. I can't do it anymore. And so I felt guilty, like I opened up this Pandora's box by allowing, okay, God, take the reins. And things had to happen. I couldn't hold on to him. He couldn't be saved in that situation. And so I had to leave. But when I came back, we had to put all kinds of things in play to help preserve my safety. And that put my family in a position, and my children just chose not to be a part of it, turn their backs on it, and I didn't involve them in court. So I just had to sit through court and do things I never thought that I would have to do. People from a 30-year marriage, I never thought I would be raising my grandkids. Now only one of them I get to see on my own and experience life, when I had somebody who could finish my sentences, somebody that would bring home the same groceries, somebody who was my best friend and we did everything with. So, and you know what that's like, is when you're gradually losing somebody to an illness, whether it's physical or, but losing the mind is completely different, because you become hated, you become targeted, you're the crazy one. And even in court, you don't get an opportunity. The court system is not really that cool. It's a very cruel situation when you get to sit and say nothing, and you're having somebody advocate for you, and you're trying to make your points, which really in the end is they're just trying to decipher what they can do in that situation. So we went through contempt of court, 6 to 8 of non-complying with what the judges wanted, safety, where I'd have to leave from one house to another to stay safe. Not going to be able to retrieve anything that I wanted in a home. So you learn that things are just things. If I can take my family with me, you know, that's the one thing that matters to me. So I'll pour into my friends, I'll pour into um, my family, and I'll pour into others. But anything could disappear. A fire could take everything for you. So you just have to decide that in life, it's really relationship, and it's people that you meet, and it's leaving a footprint on, and a handprint touching people in different ways. Um, and so I had to gradually lose somebody, and that's kind of the cruelest way. So with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, I do work with them, and Parkinson's patients. So there's a lot of hand tremors and things that go hand in hand, but it wasn't a pretty sight going through court system. I mean, I had to end up divorcing them to try to preserve things. And in the end, I didn't really get much of it. And whatever I got, I split and gave to my children in hopes that, you know, it was hell on everybody. And if you want me in your life, fine. And if not, then I wish you well. But the I wish you well becoming reality to where they're still not in my life is a hard pill to swallow. But because of people like you and Marcia and Maggie and Cynthia, I've got people in my life that I know will be there for the rest of my life. And I know when I go into heaven, my husband's going to be one of the first ones that'll greet me and say, "Job well done," because I can turn lemons to lemonade, you know. And I've learned to flip the switch when I start welling up is live in gratitude, never go backwards, you know. So if I look backwards, it's like Lot's wife in the Bible, you freeze, and it takes life away from you. So you have to go forward, and you've learned to do that yourself. Is okay, now you're meeting people, and it doesn't mean that deep in the nighttime you wake up and sometimes there's that yearning to have somebody in your life. But I always promise I'm not going to be like that person that just needs somebody to get me through the night, you know, write a song on that, get me through the night. I just know that if I don't work on myself, then I'll hold people accountable to things that he did. So if I can present my healthiest self to somebody else and my heart to somebody else down the line, that may or may not happen. But having friends like you get that true, authentic me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I was a little bitchy because I lacked sleep and I had a snore for a roommate. Um, yeah, rock the house. Yeah. If the trailer's rocking, don't come a knocking. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Take two. All right. Hey, now they should be able to hear me. Uh, now I need to have you say something, though. Go ahead.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay. Say it again.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Can you
there
hear
we
me
go.
now?
Okay, so
Good.
I got the right mics. Okay, so I'm talking about Aaron Hernandez. We're going to talk about Aaron Hernandez for a second, but I want to talk about Chris Benoit first because he was like the best wrestler ever, um, and he had a very bad case of CTE from diving off the top rope and using his head as a battering ram, and
Yeah.
he got that from. Davy Boy, not Davy Boy Smith, Dynamite Kid, who used to do that because that was his
Right.
favorite wrestler ever. And Dynamite Kid ended up on a wheelchair for his last probably 25 years.
Yeah.
And then and he was very angry because he did it to himself. But Chris Benoit, up to the day that he killed himself, in front of most people, would have never known that he had CTE. But his family, there were family problems, and his family was falling apart. And the weekend that he went home, he no-showed one of the events, and he killed his wife. He killed his son too, and then he killed himself. And a lot of people what I'm getting at is a lot of the people said how evil he was because he did that. And I too, originally, felt that way.
Well,
and
that's why I speak. That's why I do what I do, is because if you look at it, like I always say, one of our very favorite movies for me and for my husband was Beauty and the Beast. And we even got to go when we went to New York. When my husband was working for Merrill Lynch, we went there and got to watch the film. And I knew every word, and my husband knew every word to it. But in reality, I said I had Beauty and the Beast in reverse. So I had that charming man, and then gradually through the marriage, is it the stress of the marriage, is it the stress of the job, or what's going on? But now looking back, I can say he changed. His whole, even the look of his face changed, and his eye depth and everything, even to where his friends knew that, and they didn't know what to do and had to talk him off the ledge. And so you say, well, you have to donate your brain. So my husband's actually is one of the worst brains that they've seen. And they kept that, and they said, we've never seen a brain that was turning to stone. We've never seen the veins turning to stone. We've never seen so many lesions on a brain. So he's being studied. But I had to fight my own family because he died like 2 weeks after my divorce became final. Wow. So I was an ex, and I didn't get to decide. So I almost didn't get to go to his funeral. But early on, when he was playing for San Francisco, all of a sudden we got a call, and he's like, oh my God. Justin Strelzik, who is another player and you see it in Concussion in the movie, he walked into the home just much like your friend, and he started freaking out on his wife because they maintain at their jobs, they're outside of the realm, but when they get home, it's just like, you're a safe place, so they can just go haywire or whatever else. So he starts yelling at the kids, yelling at his wife, the man in the movie, Justin. And that was Dan's roommate when Dan was drafted. He leaves the house because he realizes I freaked out my family, jumps in his truck and takes that truck down the wrong way on an interstate in Pittsburgh, and you probably heard about that. And he hit a gas tanker and exploded and killed himself and the guy in the truck. So they're very good at masking outside. My husband held a high Q clearance job for the government because he was able to hold it together. But in the end, I had superpowers. I was doing all this stuff. And so I was trying to defend myself in my mind that I'm not a bad person. But really the courts knew they would have to bring bailiffs in to sit behind him. I was shamed the one time that I turned and stared him down because I was like, you have to be honest. But that's in their mind. You realize that this is a head trauma. This is a head injury. This is not the same person. So you have to learn to be smart enough to let that go, intelligent enough to know it wasn't your fault. And I still have trouble with self-forgiveness. I'm working on that. But I've taken what I could from it so that I can help other people. But it doesn't get you through the night sometimes. It's very difficult because I would love to spend a weekend with him and my grandson. But I get to spend a weekend with my grandson, so I get to be graciously happy for that. And then I know one day that he will see me and say, job well done, whatever needs to be. There will not be any sorries. I won't have to even worry about that. But as I walk through everyday life, just like you, without that soulmate, without that person, there is a piece that's missing. But I look forward knowing that whatever I've lost, I will get back even better. And that's what I say when I met you, and I met Cynthia, and I met Marcia and Maggie, and all these people that have come into my life. I never would have done met them had I just sat down, had I just gone out and got a job. So I've had to kind of buck the system. I'm able to stay with my parents, which at first I was like, I have to live with my parents, and thought that that was embarrassing. And then when I was away doing this international public speaking, one of the ladies pulled me aside and she goes, Christine, can I talk to you? And I said, sure. And she goes, can we sit and just chat? And I said, absolutely. And she says, you remind me of me. She goes, I want to share a story with you. She goes, first of all, you get to stay with your parents. You get to live with your parents. And at first I was like, I have to live with them. You don't understand. I don't have money. She goes, no. She goes, you're there for a reason. It was the best few years I had because I got to be with my parents. I got to help them. I got to do everything. So now I can see that, looking as you get to do it.
Yeah. But everything has a reason, and sometimes you're not, it's not about, how do I say this? It's not about you, but it's about the people that you influence. It is a horrible thing, but if Ken hadn't died and Pam hadn't died, I would have never met you.
Right.
And I would have never
Everything has a trajectory.
And I would have never even been focusing on an acting career or a commercial career or I had such a so low self-esteem of myself, I would have never even been a model.
Right, and that's funny because he's like, now I'm a model.
Yeah,
yeah. But that's the cool thing is
sometimes I think that this is a selfish thing to think, but sometimes I think that Ken died so that I would do this, so I would do something I never would have thought of doing. I never would have ever looked into being an actor. I would have thought, oh, there's no way I could have ever been an actor. Even though I've been acting for years as a professional wrestler or a professional wrestling personality, I never would have seen myself in that role as an actor behind cameras and all that stuff. I always would have thought, that's not really something I'd do. But and I wouldn't have steered myself at all in that direction had Ken still been alive.
Right, and that goes with trajectory. I mean, anything, like I can plan tomorrow, like that I'm going to go down to the warehouse, but who's to say that something can happen to me along the way? So you have to learn to live in the moment and be gracious for what you had. Now, I never wouldn't have known that I meet Lee Steinberg at the Chicago thing, and he keeps looking over at me and he's speaking about CTE, and I'm at this point, it's early on when I first started, and so I'm shaking and sweating because it's not easy to hear about this. And then when I go up there, he says, I want to talk to you, and he pulls me over, and then my management is like, where were you? And I said, well, I was sitting out there talking to Lee for a half an hour, and she's like, oh my God, you were talking to Lee. Well, then from there, I was invited to go down and be at the Brain Summit. And then from there, I went ahead and did the speaking clinic and then, or thing, a week's worth. And me and technology, my computer crashed. So I was doing everything on my phone, and I wasn't going to give up. And then from there, I get ready, like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And I go to leave to go catch my plane. And Bill says, he goes, Christine, you're going to Las Vegas. And I said, and in the back of my mind, there's Schoenfeld saying, you don't say no. You always say yes. You can say yes, but. So I said, well, yes, Bill, but I don't have any clothes. And he goes, Christine, I'm getting you there a day early. So I'm going to put you here. You can do your laundry. So when I got there, I opened up the curtain, and I know there's signs, so I open up the curtain, and there's an In-N-Out burger. So it's the same In-N-Out burger that my husband would always have to go to when we went to the airport and when we left. And then beyond that was one of the hotels that we always would stay at. So I know that he's there. And then I go to Lee Steinberg's sports management. They do a sports management for future reps, that want to be involved in the industry. And they split off into teams, and our management team was there, and so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they keep doing this. Well, darned if I didn't end up with them on my team. And so we had Warren Moon, and then this linebacker that was 2 years ago was a big famous linebacker, and they did a mock interview. And so they're interviewing each team, and each teammate gets to speak and what they would do and stuff, and present why we should have you as our management team. So with my team, I was the last one to speak, and I said, hi, my name is Christine Harding, and I'm a medical exercise specialist and breakthrough expert, and I help people with mindset, movement, and breath work, and I'm speaking on behalf of players because I know and you know that CTE is a real thing nowadays that's coming out, and I wanted to take care of the players and get them ready for the combine. I want to get them fast, healthy, but really what I want you to consider is they don't last very long in the industry. The typical one is 3 to 5 years. I'm concerned about what happens with these players as they exit, as they get into a job, what they're going to do. Follow them in their mentality, because we know what's happened, and you've seen Aaron Hernandez and what can happen, and there's been other players. Junior Seau shot himself in the chest so he could preserve his head. So we know things that are to be true. Well, then in the end, after a 3-day event where you're meeting and you're going through teams, there was only one other lady that got invited to this with me, and she was a sex therapist. So this kind of ties back in, Debbie, and she's hilarious. So we break off into teams, and then you get to choose your team by this time. So they look around. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a future up-and-coming sports agent or anything, but it's a sports agent academy, and I was invited. So I look over at her. She looks at me, and I said, let's do this. So we open up. The class case was about one of the players, and he was a quarterback, I believe, out of Texas, one of the teams down there. Well, he would go to get a massage after playing and stuff because he was sore, but his problem was he would keep hitting on the women and doing inappropriate things, and now they were turning him in. So everybody the teams got to speak on behalf of what they would make the player do. People were making them pay money for sexual assault and do all these things. Well, in the end, I stood up, and there was 2 of us, and looking at these people that are professionals, and some of them are pretty well into their careers, and there's some younger ones that are specifically going for sports agents. And I said, well, we know this to be true, that there's hypersexuality with these men. They have desires, and their brain's not functioning right, and that he is suffering, hypothetically is suffering from CTE. So we do know that he's got issues. And Deborah sweeps in as her profession, and she says she's a sex therapist. She goes, I work with him, and I tell you what we're doing is he's going to get on, he's contacting them, he's making apologies. Yes, he has an issue. He's getting into therapy. We're going to be making reprimands, setting up funds to help people, and making people aware of this. Well, in the end, when the whole thing's said and done, Lee gets to pick, and Warren Moon and this kid, who's going to be their representatives. So I'm sitting there with my agents that we have, and they said, thank you everybody for coming. He said, but the one team that we're going to pick is the only team because of Christine. She was the only one in this whole room that stood up and said, and spoke on behalf of the player as a whole. Now, they didn't know my story. They didn't know that I lost my husband. I held my composure together enough to say that this is the right thing to do, but nobody knew except for Deneen and Mike what I had been through. And they said they picked my team based on what I had said. And it's only being human, and that's my heart, is to help anybody. My clients are special needs, and I accept them for where they're at.
I love your
clients, a lot of
by
them
the
are
way.
handicapped.
I like your clients too, because I've talked to them and a couple of them.
Mike Trash. Yeah, and then in the end they said the other team that they picked, and they said is the only team that said yes, they do have an issue. The rest of you were having them write checks. What's that going to do to help the fact to get the player better? What's that going to help the fact to get the word out? The only players that said, or the only people that said anything, once again, is Christine and her team and Deborah. So they chose both of us. And so I got to show my authentic side. And the reason I was there, the guy that sent me there flew on a jet to be there. He saw what I was doing public speaking wise, is getting up and having the cojones enough to to go up against the NFL. Is like it's basically like biblical times. They're taking your eyes off the prize of what's going on in this world through entertainment, through your Monday night, your Thursday night, and your Sunday night now. It used to be 2 nights a week that these guys play ball. When are they going to recover? If you're playing Sunday, you're playing Monday, and you're playing Thursday, when are their helmets off? When are they getting the help? And so I'm not very popular if I stand up and come across as you took my husband and you ruined my family or anything else. It's like, it wouldn't have changed the fact that this was his family. It wouldn't have changed the fact that he would still want to play ball. But what's going to change is when something happens to families, I still have yet to get a card acknowledging my husband's loss from the university. I said, screw me. At least send my kids a card acknowledging, hey, I'm sorry about the loss of your father. Now, the university did say that to the boy that they lost, one of our quarterbacks, shot himself on campus. That's the only reason and the only one that they will take responsibility for. But what happens to now? We're up to 8 players. What happens to them? Can they not get a card? So I will continue to speak with passion, but out of a place of love and grace, that it's time for a responsibility. It's time to take it. A reaction for me would be to get pissed off and say, you screwed my life up. This screwed my life up. But no, I took enough time, sat back from it, took myself emotionally out of the equation. I'm asking for a response because it's a responsibility. If something happens to a player and they're part of your team, acknowledge it, write the card, and move on. But I walked right away against that with another gentleman and did eye patch awareness at the university. Did they like it? No. But how many people did I have that supported me? And after every Cougar first down, they would say, and it's another Cougar first down. We love you, Dan, Grayson, the whole crowd, because they saw me. I didn't face off and watch the team play. I watched the people and interacted, and they saw. And then pretty soon people, as I walk by, is like, that's Dan's wife. She's speaking on behalf of brain injury. And that was just like 3 weeks after he passed away was the opening day. But that was my response to it, is that I'm going to speak in a place of love. You will see my face. I'm not going to shut up. And that's my kids. That's one reason my daughter doesn't talk to me, is she doesn't want to face off with this. And that's her issue. I'm the one that went through the counseling, and I know in my heart the right thing to do is to take your trauma, not live in it, but how can you help other people if you're able to? And so that's the choice that I made to do. And so when you look at like all these people, and the people that are playing with him and that were the same class, it really started with these guys, and now they're dying off in their 40s and their 50s. Not a lot of them are making it into their 60s. So something is going on. You guys will talk about it, and now you'll see it more and more in the media. You know, the guy that dropped dead on the field when he was playing